Sadhu. So dear Dharma practitioners, we all go towards wisdom, and at the same time, mostly we think the wisdom means it is some information we gather from outside world. But when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, the wisdom means recognizing yourself, understanding yourself. But mostly that is what we don't want. We like to go with outside informations. We like to observe outside, but we don't want to see inside us. We don't want to recognize even ourselves. And sometimes watching a movie, 2 hours, we spend so much time and listening to music or going here and there. And sometimes vacations, days that we spend to enjoy this outside world. That is good. But at the same time, you have to look that whatever you enjoy, you put it there and you come back. The person inside you, you cannot escape. Maybe the movie you will turn off after you watch it. You have power to turn off your TV. Maybe the vacation place, whatever that you enjoy, when the time up, you will leave that. Even the people, if really you want, maybe you will get out of them. But how about you? How you can escape from you? But mostly, if you look very carefully, most of people go towards outside world, enjoying movies, music, vacations. Sometimes deeply, they want to escape from themselves. But it never going to happen. Like the body never going to leave your shadow, that wherever you go, the condition of your mind going to be there with you. And sometimes before you reach that, your body reach to that place, your mind going to be there waiting for you. So then you have to look within yourself as wisdom, what you're trying to find. So when it comes to self, what is the self? The self means this form, feeling, perception, volition, and recognition. This is what we experience from birth to death and eons by eons through this samsara. So if you're able to go in that way and observe that, you will find something. There is a way that you can find something. If there is no way, then the Buddha never going to come to this world and teach like this. If there is no way that you can reach to different kind of understanding within yourself, there is no way 2,600 years, these old enlightened masters sacrificed their lives and protect this Dharma. So then you have to remember, more than what you experience with your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, through this perception with this outside world, there is something you can experience within your own mind. And just observing and seeing how this perception come to you and how this happening inside you. That recognition is more higher than go towards outside world. We are kind of like people, like happy hour hunters. You know, then actually during this pandemic time, you mostly not go out to eat. But slowly, once this place is open to eat inside, outside, dining inside, outside, you will start to go again. You know, there are happy hours, most of places. And there are some people, they call happy hour hunters. In that area, they know which place, which dining place, what time is the happy hour. So then they look for that. Why? Because whatever the menu during that time period, happy hour time, you get a less price. Or maybe you get some extra. So somehow, the thing is this. When you look for happy hours, you go for that happy hours, and sometimes maybe you stuck in traffic. Maybe you cannot reach to the place. Maybe the place is full. And then you get unhappy. See, even though you become happy hour hunter, sometimes because of that reason, you become unhappy. So this is what happening to us around the world, everywhere, that we look for the satisfaction, and out of that, the desire. Out of that reason, we become unhappy. Your desire to be happy, because of that reason, you become unhappy. So you have to be very careful and observe yourself with the mechanism of the mind. It is just not only personally happen to you. That is a very worldly condition. This entire human world condition like that way. This entire human mind conditions like that way. So once you recognize that, this life not going to become that much difficult, even though that the outside worldly condition going to be the same, like season change, everything will change by time. But when it comes to you, if you have very clear understanding regarding the very nature and the behavior of the mind and how this mind happening, then there is no pain, there is no struggle. So in the physical world, as you know, that without the pain, there is no gain. But in your spiritual life, there is a gain, no pain. So we go for that. We look for that. We practice for that. And then in the very bottom level, what you need to do, you have to drop the struggle. Because the struggle itself became it's a kind of like a very habitual pattern to ourselves. Struggling deeply, we addicted to struggle. We addicted to fight. We addicted to resistance. That's why deeper level, it is very difficult for us to observe and accept. Because we didn't practice that way. We always resist. I don't like this. I don't like this. I like this. I want this. I don't want this. So like that way, always pulling and pushing, pulling and pushing. This is the very behavior. This is the very nature from childhood to now. So if we don't like something, we're ready to fight with it and we hate for that. And if we like something, we go for it. We're ready to fight for that. We will die for that. That's how who we are. It's just not only you or only me. That's the very nature that we came through this culture, tradition, believing system, following, and very schooling system that we went through. And we already developing that path. So that's why sometimes this practice sometimes become different. But when you go to the very bottom level of your mind, this is not something new. Remember, the only thing is the enlightenment is in your mind. You're born with the enlightenment. You're born with the light. The only thing is with a lot of dust that you accumulated, knowingly or unknowingly came to our life. Because of that lot of dust, it covered. So then the practice means what? Practice means slowly releasing that all the unnecessary things and bringing your attention, bringing your focus bringing your awareness little by little to your pure nature. But the thing is this, and we have the teachings and we practice ourselves and something that, so it's very simple. You observe your own inhalation, exhalation. It is not a magic. It is there with you. But sometimes look at our mind, how difficult it is. We are kind of like people that when we see something, we not able to recognize it very clearly. Even in deeper in your heart, the tranquility state happening moment by moment, sometimes we cannot recognize it. Your awareness that everywhere, scattered, it in every place. But sometimes when you bring the attention, it is there, but we cannot recognize. We look for something else. We look for something else. So it is a skill in the deeper level, in the macro level, recognizing and being with your awareness. And then once you recognize it, you can expand it by being with it. But the thing is, with the smaller things, we don't care. We like big things. We want to go to total transformation. We're not the step by step. We need overnight liberation, not by little. Because of that, we don't look, even just one inhalation or one exhalation, we don't want to recognize. We want the entire session to be successful. There's not something like that. So then you have to remember, when it comes to practice, settle down within yourself and develop the clarity. When you develop the clarity, there is something contentment called. That contentment means that whatever the mind recognize, and wherever the mind that settle down, you have to be satisfied with that moment, not to look here and there. But in day-to-day life, we always like to look, we go beyond that. And because of that, we miss the opportunity and we misunderstand. It is not only for the moment. It happened generations to generations. 2011, in March, I think the tsunami happened in Japan. So after that tsunami, and they start to clean the place. So then they found that there was a place, very ancient place in the mountain area, in a very ancient place, and there was a stone, huge piece of rock, and then there's something written. And what is that? Don't build below this point. You may have seen that article, and it went everywhere at that time. And don't build below this point. People used to go pilgrimage to that mountain. And on the way, they saw that sign. So what they did when you go pilgrimage, and sometimes you put flowers, you put some kind of, offering. So that kind of people used to do is kind of like a holy place. But that below that point, there was a huge city. But what happened when the tsunami came? That everything disappeared exactly to the right point. So when it comes to the wisdom, this is the same thing in our life also. And even in the Sri Lanka tsunami happened long time ago. There was a ancient the story that how the ocean that overtook the land. And even sometimes that there are very ancient temples in Sri Lanka. It's like in the forest places. And in that temples, mostly it belongs at that time the king, whoever that they find a good place, a calm, relaxed place for safety place for monks, and they offer it to monk from whatever the four direction whoever come. So this place is kind of like a caves. At that time, no kind of like a buildings, caves, mountains. So they used to put a sign, for whoever that any monk come from any four direction. So this place is for the community of Sangha. And then what happened? It's a very ancient old temples. And then there is a high priest come. And now it's that his place. And if any monk go there, you need the permission from that high priest. See, that the temple itself, for any monks who ever come from any direction to stay there, but once you become the high priest in that place, and he think it's his place, he forget what the sign says. The same thing. Don't build below this point. And the people worship that. And people, believed it is a holy place, but they didn't recognize the teachings. So the Tripitaka the same. So the Buddha's teaching any holy book, the same. This is what happening to us. We mostly hold the teachings, and sometimes in the outside layer, we just go with the material things. We don't get the essence of the teachings. But remember yourself that whatever the time you spend, it is a very limited time you have. And there is no second chance. And when the time up, you cannot tell, give me 5 minutes, give me 10 minutes. I will do that. I want to do that. Even you cannot tell, just I want to close the door. Let me take a call and tell. You have no that time. So if the life is like that and depend from that risk, how about your liberation or your wisdom, your transformation? Just look yourself and see. When you have free time, when you have time to, think yourself, how you spend that time, where you invest it, for what you invest. So you have to question yourself and see. Because whatever the thoughts that with that, if you die, what will happen to you? Where you go? So then there was a sutta called Bhara Sutta. So the Bhara is a kind of like the Bhara means kind, the carrier. It's kind of like a backpacker, the something heavy you carry on your shoulder. So the heaviness on you, it's called the Bhara. So there are 4 kinds of people in the world. So one person, so whatever sees this outside world, and it always pull it to that person. And whatever you see on TV, on maybe advertisement, online, and the very next day, it come to in front of your house. You want it, wherever it is, maybe from far away from another country, other side of the world. And You have capability to bring it to yourself. So then with our eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, we always with the form, feeling, perception, volition or the mental formation or the recognition or the consciousness, we always pulling things, collecting things, holding things. So then there is opportunity for you to get the new things to yourself. That is a one person. Always bring this heaviness, this all the five aggregates, it's kind of like heaviness to you. Because that whatever happening in your life, that happened because of this, all the form, feeling, perception, volition, or the mental formations, or the recognition, or the awareness, or the consciousness. So if it is not belong to that five aggregates, there's no any interference or the relationship to your life. It's never going to bother you. But once it become a form, or once it start to contact your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, then what happened from very next day? You struggle with it. So then there is a person always hold this and carry it and collect it, bring the heaviness towards that person. And then there is another person, even though they bring it, they drop it there. They don't take it with them. But there are some people, whatever that you see, hear, smell, taste, feel, and wherever you go, always you carry it with you. So then you become a carrier. It's always, it's kind of like you cannot sleep sometimes, you cannot eat sometimes, because this always in your mind. Dreaming. Once that dream becomes stronger, bigger, and it's going to disturb you. So there is a person sometimes always look for the form, feeling, perception, volition, and recognition. And there is a person always deal with and go with it. And then another person always try to maintain that. So whatever the form, feeling, perception, volition, or the mental formation and the recognition, always try to struggle, fight to maintain it, keep continue with it. And then there is another person, try to drop this form, feeling, perception, volition, and recognition, try to drop whatever that in already in your shoulders, try to release that. These poor people around us, some of us always look for five aggregates and always depending from that. And some, and try to carry it wherever they go. They have their own form, feeling, perception, volition, and recognition, and try to build up life according to whatever that. And another person, and try to maintain it. And another person, try to release it and get out of it. So then yourself, you have to understand which person you are. And then start to get into the fourth person. This all the step, nothing wrong with anything, but you have to recognize what you keep doing and then slowly start to release. And look yourself, put a value on you. And then once you put a value on you, and once you recognize this human life is so precious and so important, so valuable, and out of your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, don't invest your life for unvaluable things. That kind of like don't invest anything for unprofitable things. That is where you can drop, because in the samsaric journey we have done it many, many times. So then tomorrow, when you look something and start to ask yourself, is it valuable for you? Is it bring any meaning to you to change your life, and it will help you to become more better person yourself? When you hear something, even the news or the watching, even that whatever that, even you answering a phone call, just imagine this phone call going to help for you to move forward, or it will going to ignite your greed, hatred, and delusion. Then don't answer it. So then whatever the aroma around you, smell, we always keep looking. And whatever the food that we eat, you have to think that this food going to make you more valuable person to yourself, or it going to make you sick and make you kind of like an invalid person. Because once you become sick, you become an invalid person. Even you are become a king, once you get sick, remember that kingship going to be over. So then like that whatever in this physical world, becoming healthy is important. And how according to the Ayurveda, and how this disease sickness start from ancient time to today, because what we eat. So then you have to remember, when you eat something, and sometimes it can make you crazy, it can affect for your awareness, it can make you kind of like an ignorance person, it will push you to ignore things. So then you should not do that way. And so it is your own responsibility. And even the people, there are some people, nothing wrong with anybody, each and everyone different, but then you have to understand how, if you can be helpful for another person, and if that even that person may be helpful for you. So if that person understand your value and help for you to become a better person, or maybe that person need your help, and that if that person try to change, then it is okay. But otherwise, you have to be very careful with the people, because sometimes one person can change your entire life and take you to the hell. And at the same way, one person can change your life and take you to liberation or the Nibbana. So it is your choice. So then you have to be aware yourself with the people even, and don't afraid to say no to people. Don't afraid to get out of people. That is very important. If it is not the right person for you, remember yourself to find a different path. Maybe sometimes there is no choice for you. So then you should know yourself, and deeply inside you, you should determine yourself. I'm not going to look for any help. I'm not going to depend on this person. And you have to take care your cultivation yourself. So like that, and even mentally ourselves, with the thoughts that we carry within us, that whatever we reflect again and again and again, you have to be very careful. If that thoughts not help for you to change yourself and move forward, you have to change that thought. Don't allow that thought to be there. So then that's why this teaching is important. These teachings will bring us this all the information, and so once you know it, you have to evaluate yourself and then see Whatever with this all the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, perception, and where it try to take us. And maybe you see it, you know that, maybe you respect it, but if you don't recognize the teaching, then it's not going to help. It like that the Japanese ancient wisdom, carve in that stone, don't build below this point. Same thing. We see it, but still we're not going to recognize what is the message. So then remember yourself, before you die, there is a possibility. If you become wise, in this very lifetime, you can understand this Buddha's teachings or the Buddha's message. Only thing is, start from a very small little step from inside you. Because the wisdom means nothing coming from outside, that listening to your inside and recognizing that is the real wisdom. So I hope that you will find that, and yourself, you will listen it and you will recognize it. And once you recognize it, that is the day you're going to understand how beautiful this life is. That is the day you're going to understand what is the meaning of becoming a human. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you, may no difficulties come to you, may no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life during this time period. May everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjanto sabbaroko vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi digayuko bhava. Ettavata cha ammihi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idammi punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.